Hey Steak Fam, I'm Steak Daddy.
I'm Steak Mommy.
Today we're back with another video where we'll be diving deep into my wife's fitness journey and her testimony. So where to begin?
So with my health and fitness journey, it started off in, I guess, my teen years. Growing up, I was also uneducated about food, just like yourself. I ate McDonald's, I ate anything deep fried, you know, like we would go to KFC, I would eat candy, pop, chips, nothing good for me, right? And so I had zero education about nutrients, and my parents, they thought, oh, if she's eating, that's good, regardless of what the ingredients in the food were, right? And I remember being a sick child. I would always be dehydrated. Anytime I was thirsty, I would reach for pop or Kool-Aid. I would never drink water. And I remember I would be in and out of the hospital. I would need IV fluids.
How old were you when you were first hospitalized for that?
I remember being in and out of the hospital when I was like very young, like 7, 8. Yeah, they would do different tests on me to try to see what's wrong with me, because I'd always be so sick. I would have digestive issues, and the doctors just couldn't figure out what was going on. Mind you, there was no like correlation between what is she eating and like what.
So they never asked that?
You know what? Like maybe they could have asked that, but like I don't remember my parents really changing what I ate. You know, like I would eat different things, and I remember they would go to like different Indian doctors and ask what's going on, and they would like tell me eat papaya and stuff, and that's gonna help my digestion. Like, yeah, different fruits and stuff of course is great, but it wasn't getting rid of the core issue, which was eating the terrible foods, right? And so yeah, fast forward, I would say in grade 12 high school, I started noticing that I'm passing blood in my stool. Wow. So at first it didn't concern me at all, you know. I just thought, because I did deal with extreme constipation, which I didn't know was bad either. Like I would go like a week at a time and not defecate, right? And
and that was in high school.
And that was in high school. I didn't know that that was not okay. I just so as time went by, I started passing more and more blood, and not just that, I would be in pain. Like I would have severe abdominal cramps. Whoa. And it would feel like I'm passing sharp rocks in my stool. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
When you'd go to the bathroom.
When I'd go to the bathroom, like I remember like it would just not be a fun time for me. And like I would pass blood. I was starting to pass mucus, and you know, like I was having extreme diarrhea, and like I switched between extreme diarrhea to extreme constipation. And I started noticing that, oh, like if I eat this or eat this, like I would go to the bathroom right away, or I'd have the cramps would be so severe. So, you know, like I got an appointment with my general physician, and he scheduled me for a colonoscopy. And you know, getting ready for a colonoscopy at such a young age, it was really hard. They told me I had to fast, and I had to drink this liquid, like a laxative liquid.
Oh my gosh.
So I was doing that, and that was really hard, of course. I just remember being extremely fatigued. And prior to this, when I was, you know, like I was fatigued all the time, I was a late bloomer. My hormones were so messed up, and I didn't know that, you know, there was a problem there. But I remember I got my periods so late. They were irregular, and, you know, like I went to my doctor for everything. Because that's what my parents did. And I, you know, remember going to my doctor and talking about my irregular periods. And at 16 years old, irregular periods are normal when you first start. Your body's just starting to do its thing with their reproductive system. And they put me on birth control, and that really messed up my my mood,
16,
my
put you on birth control. And you were saying that before to me, that when you're 16, irregular periods is normal, right?
It's normal, like,
but they use it to push these drugs that change your hormones. Not
just that, your emotional state, you know, like, this is so funny, but you've probably heard before that, like, you're on birth control, you find a certain man or a particular man attractive, and then you get off and you're not attracted to that man anymore. What's going on? It does something to your body, your chemistry. To your perception of attractiveness. I mean, we're off our topic, but birth control is another thing we could talk about later.
Another video on that.
Anyways. Going back, I got the colonoscopy. I remember. At
age, how old were you when you got a colonoscopy?
I think 17.
That's
18.
crazy. A colonoscopy at age 17.
At that young, And, you know, it was scary for me because I was alone in this. You know, it's embarrassing to reach out to. I had to call friends that I told, hey, like, this is happening, and, you know, they were there for me. I remember, you know, during that time, but, you know, like, I didn't openly talk about this to a lot of people.
It's embarrassing.
I would say dating was really embarrassing for me, of course, because, like, I couldn't go out, I couldn't, like, you know, at the restaurant, like, I didn't want to defecate, I didn't have to, like, urgently run to, like, I couldn't even hang out with friends, like, I didn't want to be at their house because I didn't have to, you know, like, what if I had an issue, or, you know, my body, like, I flared up or something, and, you know, like, this was extremely isolating for me. A very depressing time. Not only did the physical illness make me depressed, but just, like, emotionally thinking about it, like, I was very unhealthy and depressed. So getting out of the colonoscopy, I remember the nurse came in and handed me a pamphlet, and it said ulcerative colitis, what to know, what to expect, what medication you could take, and who to reach out to. And you know, that word ulcerative colitis, I just didn't care. At this point, it still hadn't registered that I had a disease going on, right? So ulcerative colitis is ulcers in your colon, and whenever something says itis, it includes inflammation. So there's inflammation and ulcers in my colon, right? And you know, I got a call from the specialist to come in, and he's not my general physician, but I remember this man, he told me about the medication to take, and he handed me these suppositories, and, you know, like... Suppositories. If you don't know what suppositories are, you stick them in your butt.
And did they say, so how many meds did you have? Okay,
so, like, this is where it first started. I was first put on suppositories. They were steroids. So I remember talking to that doctor, asking, like, is there anything I could do differently with my diet? Could I stop eating spicy food, or, you know, dairy, or... And he just laughed, you know, he's like, food and your health, like, it has nothing to do with what's going on with you. Like,
that's crazy.
I remember that because I was like, okay, like, I had zero education, so I believed him. I really, really believed him.
He said foods have nothing to do, your diet has nothing to do with this supposedly lifelong diagnosis. And the only option would be to be on these meds the rest of your life.
And then not just that, it's like, okay, so the suppositories, they worked for a day or two, did not, you know, stop the problem, of course. And I made an appointment with my general physician, told him that the medication's not working. He was really real with me. He put me on different medications. I remember going back saying, like, these aren't working anymore, and, you know, he kept upping the dosage, and then we got to a point where it was, like, so bad that like, because I started to pass more blood on medication than I did before I was medicated.
So you were worse off with all the and you're taking fistful. Like, here's a photo.
Yeah,
right? We have
like that was
fistful
like
of pills.
That was, I reached my limit. That the doctor's like, this is what you're gonna take in a day, and I was like.
And you're age 17, 18.
This is like probably like 18, 17. Yeah, like I was so depressed looking. Every time I'd reach for that jar, you know, I was like putting my faith in that thing, like that jar of medicine.
You believe in these meds.
Yeah, I'm like also thinking in the back of my head, my life is over, you know, like I can't have a normal life. I can't, you know, I can't hang out with friends. Like dating's gonna suck. Like who's gonna marry someone that, you know, is like all these things that were going through my head, which, you know, aren't true. It's just you're alone and you're scared, of course. And I remember I made a doctor's appointment because, you know, going back and forth, I thought I had to live my life at the doctor's. And he would have to, you know, do everything that I asked him, like, am I going to heal? Like, are these medications, like, are they going to? No, like, he told me, Jasmine, like, you're going to have to, it's going to get to a point where, you know, there's medication and then there's injections. And then after injections, like, if it's still this way, we're going to take your colon out. And, you know, that's worst case. But, you know, like, he also mentioned, it is reversible. You know, you could get a colostomy bag, but, you know, some people end up getting it reversed. But, you know, like that, I did not want that.
She's age 18 and the doctor's telling her, hey, we're probably going to have to remove your colon and you'll have a colostomy bag.
He was really real. And he said that people that have ulcerative colitis or, you know, another sister disease is Crohn's, that they have it for life. And, you know, like they, you know, they end up living a fulfilled life with a bag and they're fine and all that.
So for those of you who don't know, a colostomy bag, if you get your colon removed, your body can't, you know, defecate, can't go number 2. So you have a little bag that collects your feces hanging out. And she was being told this at age 18, that this could be a reality for her. That's crazy.
Yeah, and you know, like and he also told me, hey, Jasmine, like, if you don't take care of your health, and this is the first time like someone has told me, you need to eat your greens, you need to eat your vegetables, you need to eat better, because, you know, if you don't take care of yourself, you're not gonna, your body's not gonna be able to have babies. And that was that light bulb moment. That was that moment where I was just like, this is in my control. Like, I'm going to do something, and I'm going to do whatever it takes, because it was like, ever since I was a little girl, I always wanted babies, you know. And fast forward, I'm married, I have, you know, my second baby on the way, and I have my first baby.
Healthy pregnancy.
Very healthy pregnancy.
Healthy baby.
Yeah, our baby came out very healthy, and we're very blessed. But you know what, like, my body, like, this is all because of what I'm doing now. And you know, like, there was no problems with labor or delivery. But anyways, you know, that was that moment where I was like, I'm gonna do something about it. So that was where that started. And
so what'd you do? So you heard, hey, you won't be able to get pregnant. What, I remember you were telling me you were moving differently after that. Like, what did that look like? So
I started doing my own research, and I came across this page on YouTube of these two men who, one of them, they're brothers, and one of them had actually suffered with ulcerative colitis.
So the same condition you
were diagnosed with. The same condition, yeah, so the same condition, and they work together to help other people eat better and, you know, heal from ulcerative colitis. And I was like, at first I'm like, there's no way, because the doctor told me you can't heal, like, this is a lifelong disease, right? This is irreversible and this is your life sentence. Anyways, he looked amazing, and he, you know, with ulcerative colitis, the symptoms are, you know, like, not just on the inside are you having issues, but outside you have muscle waste, you can't put on weight, you're just ill all the time.
But by the way, at this time you were dangerously underweight.
I was dangerously
we have a photo of that. You were looking, and so you were struggling too with eating disorders. And,
so I was just not able to put on weight. No matter how much I would eat, I would lose weight. And I remember, like, you know, I was 5'3", but my lowest weight was like 85 pounds or something.
Wow.
And that was at my worst.
You have that photo.
And that photo doesn't even do it. I don't have my old photos of when I look like that because I went through a phase where I'm like, I can't have these on my phone. These just scare me.
And you said you were influenced too by the internet, right?
Yeah, you know what? People were like, you look great, you're amazing, you're skinny, and you know, like, they didn't know what was going on. And you know, being skinny doesn't mean you're healthy, but yeah, anyways, where was I? So those two guys, you know, and they've helped, and they have a number of testimonies of different people of them living a life outside of colitis, and they're off the medication, and they look great. Like, this man, he looked great. Like, he had muscle on his body, he was working out, he was eating right, and you can just see the health. You know. And so I reached out, and you know, like, the program was pricey, but you know what, like, when you're at that point where you're like, I'm gonna do whatever, you pay for your health back, because when you're unhealthy, you're sick, and you have a disease, nothing else mattered. In that moment, to me, I'm like, there's no amount of money that that I could obtain that's going to make me feel better about this, right?
You're willing to invest in your health. I'm willing
to invest in my health, because your health is everything. You can only do everything in life if you have your health.
And as a family, our biggest expense is food. That is one area we're not willing to cut corners.
Man, yeah, and like, seeing, like, I have 2 kids, one on the way, I have a husband, I have this beautiful life, I'm working out. Like, this would have not been possible if I stayed sick. I know it, because I wouldn't have the energy, I wouldn't have the emotional fulfillment for this, right? And I just wouldn't have the confidence to move forward in that way.
So you joined there, and what was it? It was like an online course, and how did that go?
An online course. Well, it was more of just consultation. That's where we started. I felt confident that these guys could help me, so I joined, and it was just nutrition counseling, which is what we do. Just, you know, touching base and where I'm at. And my starting point was, I'm on medication, I don't know what I'm doing with food, I'm eating whatever. And so we started there. And
what did they tell you? They told you?
They said, you know, get rid of the medication, get off of it right now, all of it. And you know, I'm like, really?
That's
all
scary.
Of it? Like, are you sure? Are you sure I'm not gonna? I thought I was gonna die if I get off my medication. Like, that's how much faith I had in the pharmaceuticals. I was like, really? Like, what if my body reacts? Anyways, my body was reacting to the medication. And so when I remember taking those steroids, and I woke up in the morning, I looked in the mirror, and there's this giant boil on my face, like this, like a water blister or something. Like, it was like full of water just sitting on my face. And I still have a scar from popping it, because like, there's no way I'm going out with this on my face.
Crazy.
My hair was falling out. Like, I was still fatigued. I was still defecating with blood in it. And
wow.
Anyways, they got me off the medication. I started to bleed less off medication.
So you were bleeding less off of all these doctor prescribed meds.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. And anyways, these guys got me on a very strict vegan diet, and vegan, like a detox vegan. I'm talking about, like, we're gonna start off with juicing. We're gonna start off with fruits, and even with fruits, like, you know, make smoothies instead, because your body needs a break from having to break down foods. Just give it a rest. So I was doing smoothies and juices.
Inflamed and everything. You need to give your body a break.
So inflamed, I kid you not, like, it was bad. Like, I remember I'd have arthritis in my elbows, all my joints were inflamed. Like, I would wake up on fire because, you know, like, there was just so much inflammation in my body. I would be sick all the time. I would have fevers all the time because, you know, if anyone had anything, I would catch it. That's how bad my immunity was.
Compromised. Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, so I remember getting off the meds. I started juicing. I started doing smoothies. I was, you know, and I started to notice a big difference in my body. So I remember my body started to reject everything. And you know, the one thing that stuck with me that these guys told me is you're gonna get worse before you get better, because your body needs to detox. And when you actually see rashes on your body starting to show up, or you know, like you're getting hives or something, it's actually coming from the inside out, and you want that. You want that effect, right? And you know, because I would notice these different things happening to my body as I'm juicing, but I would notice there was a positive effect. I was more energetic. The depression was starting to go away.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to the my bathroom stools were a lot better. I was having more solid, more regular movements instead of just like all over the place, and right?
More regular.
More regular. We can put a poop chart up here if you want to show you like what you don't want and what you want to look for. Anyways, I became very fixated on wanting to see the health of my poop, and because I was eating better, I was seeing results. And I remember.
Were you gaining weight?
Well, yeah, I was gaining weight. So I went through a period when my body started to reject everything, and the only thing that was working for me, thanks to these guys, because they went through this, like one of the guys, he went through this as well. His body only accepted bananas, and only bananas. And why bananas? It's because they're rich in fiber and they're easy to digest, and you know, like they have very, very good not just the potassium, like they have the vitamins that will sustain you for, you know, not forever, not for a long time, but for a short period of time. If you live, for detox, bananas are great. So he was telling me do banana and water smoothies, and I thought, you know what, gross, not so pleasing, not so delicious, like it's not what I want. But you know what, I'm at this point where I'm like, I'm going to make sure that I can have babies one day. So that was my motive, right? And so I started doing it, and it wasn't bad. Like it was just like, oh, okay, banana smoothie, but it wasn't bad. It was not bad at all.
How old were you at this point?
This is like early 20s, I'd say. 20s. Like this, sorry, I'm moving like 17, 18, 19, 20, around there.
Yeah.
I would say 19-ish, let's say.
Yeah.
And then.
Tell me about the grocery store.
Oh yeah, so at the superstore back home, I was known as the banana lady, because I would clear out all their bananas, and their belt would have just bananas, long line bananas. But yeah, you know what? Like I started becoming, you know, I don't want to say prideful, but very proud of myself that I'm doing something that is in my control for once, right? And I was gaining weight. I gained 15 pounds. 15 pounds, and it wasn't a fat. Like I was working out. I was deadlifting a plate, like a plate for someone that's awesome. That's 5'3".
Yeah.
And, you know, I gained 15 pounds. I started to look better, feel better. People were starting to notice, hey, like, you know, like you look healthier. You're, you know, what are you doing differently, right? And I would say the one, I just started thinking that this was the way. So that was my mistake. I mean, veganism is not sustainable for me. I didn't eat the tofu. I didn't eat the beans. I was doing more of just the fruits and all, right? And for me at that time, I thought that was the way, and that was how I was going to move, right? But you know, I asked these guys like, hey, so when can I start eating my regular, like I want to be able to eat, you know, my chicken, I want to eat, you know, different foods.
Especially when you're working out. You want that protein, that meat.
Yeah. So they were like, oh, well, this is kind of for life kind of thing. And if you get off of it, you know, you're kind of going to go back. And I was like thinking to myself in my head, it doesn't feel like, it feels like I'm just sustaining something. I'm not healing, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing my research. And then because there was other people on the internet, and they had healed their colitis with carnivore diet, with raw milk, butter, steak, and they look good too, and they're off medication.
Who look better, them or the vegans?
To be honest, I would say, I'm not hating, but you know, the carnivores, I would say, look more vibrant, more vital, and I would say yeah, that's when I started to do a little more, and you know, like I became sick because I was just doing banana smoothies and other fruits.
How long were you doing just like the banana fast?
It was like more than half a year, I'd say.
Wow.
I was doing cooked vegetables. Raw vegetables weren't always working for me because of how tough they were to digest, the fiber. But, you know, as time progressed, I would, you know, do different vegetables, and other fruits and salads were finally working for me.
Nice.
But I basically, like, I remember saying that, you know, I'm not healed if this is just me sustaining myself, and I have to stay to this one restrictive group, then it's not for me. I did not agree with tofu. We can do a video on tofu next time.
Like tofu
but
sucks.
You know, like tofu is tofu, I guess. The thing is, our bodies, they have adaptogen, they have estrogen receptors. Yeah, and then when you put in your body tofu, which are phytoplant estrogens, your body actually registers them as just regular estrogen, so it increases the amount of estrogen in your body.
Messes up your hormones.
It messes up your hormones. Men definitely should not eat tofu. I don't see, but even women, like, for your hormones, stay away from tofu.
So, okay, so you did this crazy banana thing for half a year, maybe 8 months, and then so what was that transition? Because these, you know, this community we're in was all vegan, so how was that transition to introducing meats, and what did that look like?
Yeah, so I did more research. I started watching other videos, and, you know, like, slowly just kind of started adding more foods. It was hard because my body was rejecting the chicken, it was rejecting other food groups, and I remember I still stayed away from dairy, I still stayed away from gluten, but I started to implement more meats, and you know, like, I wanted to do the dairy, so I would start off with raw milk instead, and I would make kefir.
What's kefir?
So kefir is fermented, fermented milk, and, you know, you take raw milk and you get kefir grains and you ferment it. It tastes like sour yogurt. It's really good.
It's an Indian thing.
Well, actually, a lot of different people, you know, kefir is quite popular in India, of course, but very good for you, high in probiotics, very good for your digestion. You know, it was a process. I would say more than 2-3 years for my body to, you know, where I'm at today. It took a bit, and it was about being patient, not being angry at myself, you know, if I did mess up. And, you know, like, messing up meant, like, you know, sometimes I really wanted a cheeseburger, sometimes I really wanted some fries, and that's okay. Like, I had to, not only did I have the physical body to get over, but the psychology of food to, you know, because I did struggle with an eating disorder, and so the feelings of guilt I had to pray through, the feelings of, you know, just feeling down if I did give in, or, you know, like, all that. I had to move past that for my body to fully recover. And, you know, even I would notice, even if I'm giving my body the right foods, that there is this huge psychological aspect that I had to get over.
So, and you found your health getting better over those 2 years, right? Because you said with the banana thing, you were starting to lose weight again.
So with that, it started, you know, it went like this, and then it went like this, and then it went like this. And so with everything else right now in life, you know, everything's not linear. You know, at that time I thought everything was just, I was just gonna go right, but, you know, it was a process, and it's still a process because I'm still learning to implement more and what I can do differently, what works for me. But I'm really happy to be over it. You know, like, my body, I'm not dealing with the health issues that I was dealing with.
You're not on any medication?
I'm on 0 medication. I don't restrict myself. If I want to have a cheeseburger, I go have a cheeseburger. If I want some fries, I go have fries. Like,
And you're eating steak too.
Oh yeah, I love steak. I used to not like steak. Like, I come from a Indian family, and eating steak is like the equivalent of eating a dog.
Of Americans eating it. It grosses, they're revolted by the idea.
So I started off when I was revolted by steak because, you know, my parents were revolted by it, and we were taught to, you know, don't eat it, it's gross, and but I love it. It's good for you.
I introduced it to you.
And Matthew introduced it to me, but not just that, it's like, you know, postpartum, like it saved my life. I remember having postpartum depression, and it wasn't my environment. I'm very happy with my life, love my baby, love my husband. Like I was, you know, had people around me supporting me, but it was my health and the hormones. And a big thing that a lot of people don't know is when you're breastfeeding and when you just give birth and you lose all that blood, it's a blood deficiency. It's more, it's more, you know, you need to make sure you're getting your minerals, your vitamins, and you know, you want your body to go back to doing things regularly, and steak really provided that. It provided the proteins, the fats, you know, and the iron. So yeah, there's just many good benefits of steak.
Wow. So here you are today.
Yeah.
Any side effects or anything with colitis? Or you?
I would say no. Like there's like, I am feeling great. I look great. There's nothing in my body that I feel like I'm suffering. Like I'm eating a wide range of foods. Actually, like when we first met, like my body was still not able to process fats the way it should have. Yeah. And I remember you were just saying slowly, just keep doing it. I'm like, but you don't understand. Fats. Like I've tried so many times. But you know, trying different fats, and he introduced me to heavy cream, and you know, at first my body's just like, no, don't want it. It was a new foreign object to my body. Yeah. But now I'm putting heavy cream in my coffee, and
a lot too.
A lot of it. You know what? So my body feels great, and it's not rejecting the heavy cream.
Wow, praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Now, what was your spiritual journey like throughout all this?
I would say I grew more in faith. Like the Lord heals, of course. Amen. It's not us healing, but you know, the Lord does want you putting good food in your body time and time again. Like Bible verses, we'll put them up right now. Like it says, take care of your body. Like you don't want to rely solely on the Lord taking care of your body, and if you don't give it the right foods. And so, you know, like the Lord healed my body, and I've seen countless other people heal from disease. And disease is such a big word, but if you break, it's dis-ease in your body. Like it's not so scary.
Did you kind of, before you went on this journey, did you think that food had such a huge impact on your health and well-being?
No, I really didn't. I really, first of all, I was a kid and I thought I was invincible. There's no way I could get cancer or a disease or an illness, you know, like but I also didn't think food would have an impact on me. Like I would see people that are big, and I would say, oh, you know, like they might need to stop eating all that food, but I don't need to because I'm so skinny, and you know, and I didn't correlate being sluggish, being lethargic, or depressed or underweight. Underweight. I didn't correlate any of that to what I was eating.
I think in our culture too, because of the influence of big pharma and the food companies, there's this huge perception that's been manipulated with people where they think that diet and health are like two separate things.
It's like this big reliance on pharmaceuticals and doctors, and we have family that, you know, like are, you know, on medication, and then they're fine with being told after this medication you're gonna have an adverse reaction and you're gonna be on more medication, and they put their life they put all their faith into the medication
while eating Oreos and snacks,
and when meanwhile they're struggling with something so little as arthritis or, you know, just brain fog, or even like different mineral deficiencies, and those are so easy to fix with diet.
Just through diet.
Lifestyle changes.
I know for me, on my fitness journey, I was lifting weights, and I knew that I should clean up my diet. I had no idea until I implemented it just how it would impact my emotions, my testosterone, my well-being, my fitness, my ability to put on muscle. I had no idea how essential food was to that process.
And for men and women, like eating good, working out, taking care of yourself, it's not just for your own good, it's for the people around you. You know, like you take care of people you love, and you take care of yourself because you love yourself, right? And the best thing you can do for yourself is eat better and train your body.
Amen. We want to help you on this journey. I know some of you out there are probably in as rough shape as my wife was in. Or maybe you're just struggling to get a hold on it. You don't have to be that extreme. But there's a link in the description. It's steak.school. No .com, just steak.school. We want to get you on a call, see where you're at in your journey, and we want to help you have the same results in your life that my wife has experienced. We don't want you to be a slave to pharmaceuticals. We don't want you to put your faith in doctors. We want you to get the help that you need so that you can enjoy a life of bountiful health. A
free life, you know. We want you to be in control of your life, and we don't want you to be, your food to control you, or you know. And so as a certified nutritionist, I want to help you. I want to, you know, we can look at what you're eating and, you know, how to implement different foods and lifestyle changes and
a lifting program too. For men and women, it benefits you. Well, thank you for sharing so vulnerably. Is there anything else you want to tell the Steak fam before we leave, or?
I don't think so.
I think that your story is really inspiring. And you know, the one thing that I like, and we both really relate on, is not taking no for an answer. You know, multiple people in your journey, from the doctors to even that first vegan community, just told you this is the way it is, and to accept it. But there was something in you that was like, no, there's more. You just know there's more.
Listen to that conviction when people say that there's only this way, and that's how it is.
Why don't you just accept the little that you have, accept your fate. No, we rebuke that.
Don't ever take no for an answer, and always believe in yourself, and always want the best for yourself.
And you know, these can sound like empty platitudes, but if you combine that with inspired action, you will see the results that you can get, and you will be surprised at what you're capable of.
Just little things, you know, eating different, working out differently, you're going to feel differently, and that's going to be the catalyst to want make you want more.
Huge breakthrough. Well, click the link in the description, steak.school, and that's all for now. We will see you later, Steak fam.
Bye.